Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Ananda Rose. Hello. We have Kirsty with us today. Hi, Kirsty. How are you?
Hi, Rose. I'm quite well, thank you. Yeah.
It's good to hear. Well, friends, I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since you heard us together talking. It seems to be like we last did this together and around about Easter, the end of Easter. And here we are today. Well, we've got exciting news. We're doing our next 343 event. And we thought we would come online and tell you all about it because ticket sales are just about to happen. Yeah. So, Kirsty, what is it? You did most of the work on it. Tell me, what is it?
Yeah, so last time we worked on an event together, it was all about working with trauma, which is obviously a big topic, and it was quite profound, I think. And so, following on from that, but as an independent event, so you don't need to have done the previous one, this time we're working with the idea of reducing overwhelm and more specifically working with sensory integration, reducing sensory overwhelm. So if you um, are neurodivergent or you relate to some of those traits, often this kind of sensory overwhelm will come with it. Maybe everything's too bright, or maybe you have trouble filtering noise in a busy environment. Maybe it's certain sensations. But truthfully, you don't have to be neurodivergent to experience sensory overload. And often, what will happen is that if we've been through stress, and it can be acute stress or it could be a chronic stress, the nervous system will get hypersensitized and our sensory vigilance will go way up to protect us.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it comes right back down, but often it doesn't because, the body's so amazing at protecting us, and sometimes it takes its job just a wee bit too seriously. So, um, yeah, so we just want to look at soothing that and coming at it from quite a lot of different angles and giving you tools that you can use at home as well. Mm.
That sounds wonderful. I was reading all the descriptions of what we're going to do. And I thought, wow, this is kind of working with the depth of feelings, the depth of things that we often take years to overcome. And it sounds to me like, from everything that I've been reading about it, that you're going to teach us some techniques or give us some techniques that are going to make it, oh, what's with that? That's going to make it easy for us to be able to overcome the deep-seated things, but in a smooth way, in a way that we just transition, just go over it. And because often we've been dealing with these traumas for years and years and years, and
Mm.
then, we're going around the mountain one more time, and you're like, oh my gosh, what? So I guess that's important, very important for us um, to be able to navigate it quickly and easily. And that's what I like about what I was reading.
Yeah, and to kind of approach it from this multi-layered, multi-dimensional way. So we'll look at some things that can be quite scientific. For example, looking at the Moro reflex, which is if
That's
anyone, if you
fascinating.
if you have a baby, it's that thing they do. That's why we swaddle them, where they go and they wake up and they might start crying, and it's a normal reflex. In fact, you'd be worried if the baby didn't have that reflex because it's important. Helps the baby to take their first breath, helps them to get the parent's attention, helps them to stop themselves from falling, which is why it's so hard to put a child down into a cot or a bassinet because they go like this.
Mm.
And what should happen ideally is that it integrates and matures. But if you're under stress, sometimes that doesn't happen so smoothly. And we have this hypervigilant startle response that we can recognize in lots of different ways. It might look like being overly sensitive to sound or lights or, you know, sudden movements, the feeling of falling. And it can present in ways that, we often think of as neurodivergent traits as well, like having struggles with focus or making decisions. It's all about whether you're feeling safe. And so, fortunately, there's things we can do quite easily to help to integrate that reflex, even as adults. And um, even if they integrated quite well when we're a baby, they might have sort of risen back up to the surface because of the stress. And that's okay because we can soothe it back down again. So
Yeah.
we're working with some of those quite physical things, but we're also working energetically. And then, of course, bringing in the synergistic use of the light language. So that we can have that, yeah, quantum shift, I would say. So we're going to work with the Moro, we're going to work with the visual system. It's very effective to work with stress by using vision and looking at certain exercises and also the input that comes in through the ears.
Mm.
Yeah.
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 Right.
And then most of us know about the vagus nerve now because it's quite trendy. And so the third and final week will be more specifically focused on that. And it's such a powerful nerve, and it's all to do with how we come into rest and digest, which we know we all want, as opposed to fight or flight or freeze, which can be just as debilitating.
Mm.
And yeah, so we're going to really work on, again, from multiple levels to support the vagus nerve and to have our nervous system be functioning more optimally. And when our nervous system is happy, then the rest can flow. Um,
Yeah.
think about if you're trying to meditate or connect into your intuition, it's pretty hard to do if you're in a survival state. So yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Nice. Very good. I was thinking, so the vagus nerve is just at the back of the head, right? Just below, or just where the skull and the spine meet. Is that where
Yeah,
it's
well,
located?
it's huge. So it connects it starts up in the base of the head there, but it connects all in around your tongue and the jaw
Yeah.
and the neck, and it comes down and it connects into the gut a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's massive.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Mm,
I remember you explaining it. It's almost like the dragon within the body, right? Because of the way
mm,
it's connected and the way it's sort of, if you imagine where it's going to, feels like there's a dragon. Recently, so this area is where we have the Alta Major chakra. And in the
mm,
Vedic system, it's called the Bindu chakra. And apparently, if you look at it energetically, it's like this elephant tusk coming out of your head. And
mm,
I've been hearing it's really good to work with that chakra. So that's the location of where the vagus nerve is. So I can only imagine because if it affects you in a big way, that chakra, like to live, to be clear, have a clarity of mind, all of that. It's a, it's awesome. Anyway, I know I'm digressing, but I was
No,
just
yeah,
reminded
and
about
it's
that.
all connected,
It's connected, yeah.
and the vagus nerve is just so powerful in terms of being able to take you out of that emergency state.
Yes,
And so when people talk about improving vagal tone, it's like, yes, you actually want to strengthen the vagus nerve so it can do its job, which is to, in simple terms, calm you down. And then
exactly.
everything
Do it
else
really
flows
quickly.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can do it really quickly, then you're no longer in fight or flight and you're just back into balance and operating from
Mm,
that platform.
yeah.
The light language, the light language is always, we look at what we're talking about that day and we bring an intention with the light language. And I just feel that often when in these sessions, the light language will soothe when it needs to soothe, or it will bring in wisdom when it needs to, or
Mm,
discernment when it needs to bring it in. And so I'm very grateful to have the light language because I feel like quite often I don't even know what the heck it's all about, but it just comes out because we let guidance bring. we are the conduits for these things. And I just find the responses that people have to the light language tells me that something is happening, because at the end of the day, I'm just a conduit and I can't necessarily, I can have an intention, and I do have an intention of what's coming through. Or sometimes I just go with the flow and then I'm getting the intention or what's coming through as I'm doing the language. But it's quite a phenomenal thing, the light language. Even when I feel like, oh gosh, it sounded like yesterday, there's still something happening there. And so I just really recommend light language. I know some people think that it's weird, but that's okay. We're all in our own spaces. And, I was speaking to somebody earlier this week that talked about, like 30 years ago, he had someone giving him, an astrologer giving him a reading.
Mm.
And the man was so on point with his reading that, but he never took the time to say, you are on point. He walked away from it because he was like, oh, this is a weird thing.
Hmm.
And so I feel like that with the
Mm.
light language, people get downloads, they get thoughts or feelings or something. And, you know, they may or may not say it, but something shifts every time light language is in the space. So I'm looking forward to being able to bring that, being the conduit to bring that into the sessions.
Mm. Yeah, and there's always such a nice synergy because it is so intuitive and it just comes through and the
Yeah.
energy just flows and it's energy and it's your connection to whatever you want to call it, spirit, collective consciousness, all of that. And
Universe, source. Yeah.
as it requires alignment and discernment always, as with anything that we do. So
Yeah.
um yeah, and it does. It's quite incredible how we can turn up. Sometimes you have no idea what I've prepared, but what you're bringing through will still just mesh, and it's
I
yeah,
know. I
yeah,
know. It's
it just
crazy, right? It happens every single time we've done
yeah.
something together. At
Mm,
one point or the other, it just comes together and you're like, oh, wow. Because, I mean, we don't need to report on what we're doing because we know that we're collaborating. And so our trust in source, our trust in spirit, in our higher selves, we know it'll all work out. So that's really awesome.
mm,
I love that.
yeah.
Mm. Well,
Mm.
when's it happening then?
Yeah, so the first session will be Sunday, the 15th of June, New Zealand Standard Time at 7 a.m. And then it will be the following Sundays at the same time. And as usual, there will be a recording available if you can't make it at that time. And it will
Yeah.
just not include anybody's personal commentary, but the core of the session will be there for if you sign up.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so what's that? 15th, 22nd, 29th.
29th. Yeah.
If you're wondering why 3 weeks, was because 343 series is three sessions in 3 weeks. That is what the download was that I got sometime in February to be offering. This time we are always going to, from here on, or like from the last one, we're always going to do the whole 3 sessions is what you sign up for. So you register on the website at ananda-rose.com. We'll put the links in the description box. And yeah, that's where you register for it. And then we will be taking care of all of that stuff, getting you your links and everything over to you. Well, I'm really looking forward to people joining us for this because it's another different thing that we're doing. We're taking kinesiology into it, but we're also using the light language. Then it's bringing mind, body, soul
Mm.
into alignment, being holistic in that way. I don't know what else I missed out besides mind, body, and soul, but mind, body, spirit, right?
Yeah.
And so with all our bodies and our fields, but I mean, surely that's part of it. Part of it is the emotional body is a big part of it. So it's bringing all of that together, and we're working with all of it to clear, to rejuvenate, to receive what it is that we can receive from these sessions. So I'm really looking forward to that. Hmm.
Yeah, me too. And the nice thing is that it's very personalized to the group that shows up,
Yes.
through the use of muscle testing and also through the use of our intuitive sense of the energy of the group. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel I need to say this. So what people get the recording. We do not sell the recording like as an option afterwards. The recordings only go to the people that have registered for it because it's meant to be there in-house, so to speak of. If you register, you get the recording for it. It makes sense because people are there in the moment and having that experience, and some things might come out in that whilst we're not sharing everybody's personal story, but there's some things we think that might be sensitive, that we don't really want somebody who wasn't in that event, who didn't feel the energy of it, to be a party to, and that might make those that were there feel a little bit that their
Mm.
lives are a little bit have been invasive. It's
Yeah,
also
it is
confidentiality and
personal.
privacy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
personal. So that's why we do it like that. Um, I find that with the 343 series, this is going to be the third one we're doing. Um, it's been very, like, we've actually started to build a camaraderie with the people that have joined us on these events. And it almost feels like there's something happening beyond that. We're building friendships with people. And I
Mm.
love that. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, well, if we
Mm.
have that in common, is it possible that you're part of my soul tribe or my soul family and we agreed to do this? So that's really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Mm.
Right. Wow.
Mm.
That's awesome. Okay, friends, thank you very much for watching. And hey, looking forward to catching any of you there who are going to register for this. It's a real one-to-one special event that we'll be doing. So, Kirsty, you want to say anything before we say goodbye?
Mm. No, just really looking forward to connecting with some of you and going really deep with this work because it is quite an intimate container and there's a lot we can do. And
Yeah.
there's a lot you can do beyond those 3 weeks as well because the energy will keep moving and you'll find ways of supporting yourself. So yeah,
Yeah.
look
Really
forward to it.
nice.
Mm.
Good way to put it.
Mm.
Yes, friends, thank you so much for watching. And we're going to sign out, but looking forward to catching you here next time. And there, if you're joining us. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.